So you've got these sayings that people have, things like curiosity killed the cat, you need money to make money, never put off to tomorrow what you can do today, opposites attract, don't judge a book by its cover, and on and on and on. And there's one kind of where I'm from, and I don't know if it's necessarily where I'm from or if it's kind of everywhere, but there's more than one way to skin a cat. And that's kind of what we're going to be doing today, so stick around. Hey guys, what's up? Bryan here. Thanks for tuning in today. So like I said, there's a saying, it's called there's more than one way to skin a cat, and that's what we're going to be talking about just a little bit today. So I want to do a Daymaker type headlight, and there's actually quite a few options out there for the Warrior. You've got Cyclops that actually offers one called the Phoenix, but the problem with that is it runs $400, and that's a lot of money to pay for a headlight. You've also got a company, called Denali, and they offer one too, and it's not quite as expensive, but it's still kind of up there. And the problem is you can pick up one of these lights on Amazon for like 40 bucks. So I'm big on fabricating things myself, and I thought, why not just pick up one of these, go ahead, see if I couldn't get into the headlight and figure out a way to make it work. And there's one thing about this channel that I really, really try to do, and that is to make it to where everybody can do it. I've even had videos where I've started, gotten halfway through, and thought, you know what, this isn't something that I think everybody can do, and I've abandoned it. So this is something that I wanted to bring you guys that I thought kind of would be something that would be on the level that anybody could watch the video and do themselves. But like I said, there are many different ways to do this. And if you're comfortable with fabricating things yourself, you could make your own bracket and actually, get in there and do this and have it look really good. I wanted to go with a nice, easy way that I thought everybody would be able to do. So all I'm going to do is be taking apart parts of the headlight, using a little JB Weld, and actually sticking it all back together. And when it's all said and done, hopefully we're going to be able to use the stock adjusters to actually be able to adjust that headlight without having to take it out or do anything like that. Now I'm going to leave links to everything that I used today down in the description below, so be sure to check that out. Now let's go ahead, let's get out there and let's pull this headlight bucket out and let's start working on it. Now the first thing that we want to do is actually get our headlight itself out. Now my whole thought on it was if I could get this headlight stay to actually attach to the LED light itself, I would then be able to reconnect it to the headlight ring and reuse these stock adjusters to actually be able to adjust the headlight, just like I would a stock normal headlight. So the first thing that we're going to do is actually remove the headlight stay. And to do that, we're going to be removing the 2 bolts and one of the adjusters that actually connects from the headlight stay to the headlight ring. So we're going to start with taking off the actual headlight adjuster ring here. And when you do this, make sure that you do not lose this nut here on the back side. So you'll just take a regular Phillips head screwdriver and you'll back that screw all the way out. Now once you've actually done that, go ahead and take the nut, the spring, and the screw and set that aside because we're going to be reusing those. Now from there, you're ready to take out the 2 screws on the side that are connecting it to your headlight ring. You should be able to actually push the assembly through the front of that headlight ring. And you'll take that headlight ring and set it to the side for now as well. Now from here, we're going to take the 2 screws that are holding the adjuster, as well as the 2 screws that are holding the headlight stay to the rest of the lens assembly out. Now these 2 screws that I'm taking out of here, I will not be reusing, so I can set those kind of just to the side. Now you will want to make sure that you keep 2 of these nuts and screws so that we can actually reattach the headlight stay to the headlight ring later. And once you've got those 4 screws out, you're ready to remove the headlight stay from the rest of the lens assembly, and you can just pull it right off. And you're not going to be reusing this either, so go ahead and set that to the side. Now from here, I'm going to take my adjuster and I'm going to back it all the way out so that I make sure it doesn't give me any kind of trouble when I'm trying to fit it back to that LED. Now this is the LED light that I chose to go with. It's a 5 3/4 inch light, and I'll leave a link in the description below, so check that out if you want. Now I did have one issue with one of the fins on clearance. So I went ahead and I actually cut it off with a hacksaw and got it nice and clean. And then when I put that ring back on it, I'm not gonna have any kind of issues with clearance on it. Now the main thing that we wanna do on this is we wanna make sure that we get it nice and centered and lined up really well, because once we get this in place, there's gonna be no adjusting to it. Now the first thing that you're gonna wanna do is put your rubber filler on. You're not gonna have any way to do it afterwards. It's not gonna be able to slip over the front side of it really that easily, and it's not gonna be able to slip over the headlight stay either. So you're gonna have to stick it on and kinda work with that on there. Now you can actually see that when you stick this in the headlight, it does a very good job of covering up that space in there. Now without that ring, it would actually have quite a decent space. Now on this headlight stay, I've actually got these two tabs that hold these nuts in place whenever you're pushing the screws back through. Now those actually end up getting just a little bit of my way, so when I put this on the light, I'm actually going to stretch it out just a little bit over the sides so that it can fall down over it. Now I want to show you really quick, the adjuster on this, it has plenty of play, so it's not getting into the way of any of these fins or anything. Now, the main thing that you want to do on this is you want to make sure that you have it nice and centered and lined up. Because once you put it inside of this and actually epoxy it in, it's not going to be going anywhere. All right, now I've got this set to where I'm actually pretty happy with it. You can see that it's set all the way up against that ring the whole way around. And what I ended up doing was stretching it over the tabs on the both sides and the top and just sank it down as far as I could. Now what I'm going to end up doing is epoxying this in place, and then I'm going to epoxy this adjuster on the back side as well. Now one thing that I'm actually have to do is notch out some pieces in this rubber so that I can still be able to use these adjusters. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to epoxy this into place, and then we will let that set, and then we should be good to install it back into the headlight. All right, now we're gonna let this set for the 4 hours or whatever it takes for the epoxy that you chose to set up. And from there, we will come back in, notch out the rubber around these adjusters so that we can stick it back into the headlight ring, stick it into the motorcycle, and we'll be set. All right, now for the moment of truth. I've got everything epoxied in, and it's been sitting for a few days, so everything should be nice and cured. Now you can actually see where I've notched out my rubber ring so that I can actually still use these stock adjusters on there. Now we're gonna fit this back into the headlight ring, and then we should be ready to set it back into the bike and actually get it adjusted. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna actually take the headlight ring and stick it over the back side. And you're gonna have to actually stretch that out just a little bit to get it to sit back over those. Line up those holes. Now one thing that I do wanna show you really quick, and I don't know if you can actually see it, on the inside here, you've got those tabs, and that's what I was talking about, stretching over the side of the light. And you've got them on the top and the sides and the bottom as well. Bottom one doesn't really, pose any problems. But when you epoxy this thing in, you want to make sure that you don't epoxy over those tabs. Those tabs are what holds these nuts in place. So when you go to stick these bolts back in, if you epoxied over it, you're not going to have the clearance to actually have those nuts inside there. So you want to make sure that you don't put any epoxy on the two side ones at least. Top one should be fine, but the two side ones will actually pose a problem later on. Now I did actually run into a little bit of clearance issues on this light itself. On the one side where the actual cord comes out of the back side of the LED, I had issues with the screw being just a little bit too long and the nut actually not fitting inside there. So what I had to do was cut the screw down just a little bit and get a different nut that went on the edge of that was really thin to actually get it to sink into place. Now I actually did go, and when I was at the hardware store, I picked up washers and different screws and everything, but I wasn't able to find one with the shank on it. So I would actually prefer to reuse this one if at all possible. So what I did was I took that nut and I sank it all the way down in and stick it in that drill. And like I said, I don't want to cut off that much, but this will actually get a nice good hold on it. And I put that screw on so that if the threads get messed up, I can actually back that screw out, and that'll fix those threads as well. Now once you've got both sides installed, you're ready to actually install the adjuster screw. Now the easiest way to do this is to go ahead and take that screw, stick it in through the bottom, pop that spring into place. Now that spring, it doesn't want to sit in there very easily. So you might have to kind of work that screw in as you straighten that spring out into place. The good thing about this mod and trying it this way is that this headlight stay is only $30 new. So even if none of this ends up working out, I can replace the headlight stay, replace everything, try it all again, and still be in less than I would pay for a brand new Cyclops bolt. Now, one problem that I found with this, and I think it's just the way that I ended up mounting it, is the reveal on the bottom. It actually hugs the bottom a little more than it does the top, which isn't really bothering me that much, but it's not really centered inside that ring. And I think it's just the way I mounted it. What I think is if you would actually go in on this top part where it has the tab that holds your nut in place and grind that tab off and sink it down just a little bit more, it would actually allow that headlight to go up a little bit, and it would probably fix that reveal just a little bit more. So you might want to try that. Guys, thanks for tuning in today. Hopefully this video was able to walk you through the process of getting that light installed so that you could have a decent little modification to your bike this winter. Be sure to like and share this video, and if you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Scroll down, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so that you get notified to all my new videos as soon as they come out. Just like last week, guys, I have no idea what I have planned for next week, so stick around and we'll both be surprised together. Other than that, we'll see you next time.